Good morning. Hello, hello. Let's see. I guess we'll just go over here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Wow, crazy. Good morning. Okay. Hope everybody's doing absolutely fabulous right now. So if you are around, come join me now on YouTube. And bring a coffee. Welcome. There we go. So, I don't know about you. I woke up in a pretty good mood today. It's great. I feel good. I like this energy. I do. It's my type of energy right now. Just saying. It could be that, yeah, the moon's in Gemini, and when the moon's in Gemini, I love the moon in Gemini. It's it it's a forward moving moon. It's not a sitting around kind of moon. Yeah, we have the sun in Taurus, and that's practicality and getting things practically done so you can move with practicality. Still a lot of energy in Aries, and things are just a crack-a-lacking in there. That's my words, crack-a-lacking. And we also have Venus. Venus is going to be snuggling up with Taurus in Taurus. She's in Taurus. So I heard somebody say in Taurus. And she is snuggling up with Uranus. And Uranus is at the very end. And he will be going into Gemini. Now, that is a whole other kettle of fish. Just saying. It's just a whole other kettle of fish. Now, if you are wanting to join me for my Diamond and Dragon, I have 4 spots left. I would love for you to join me. Our next session is this Thursday. You can join me this Thursday and come on over. And we are going to be dealing with the energies of the dragon and the gateways of the dragon. So we're going to be talking about like the lineage and how the dragons can help you, especially to deal with a lot of the nervous system energies that are going to be happening over the next while, especially with Uranus going into Gemini. That's your nervous system, right? And your paralytic nervous system. I think I said that right. And and so there's a lot of activation. And one of the things that's really activating is words. Words. Words have meaning. Words are powerful. And the English language particularly is it's kind of funny with words, like, because okay, so let's back up a bit, Mary. You're going way too ahead before you get to the whole explanation here. So, Taurus season. Taurus governs the body, the breath, the earth beneath your feet. What stabilizes you? Now that's earth. At the same time, we have Gemini, currents, and it's building. Gemini rules the mind, perception, information, language, and yes, the nervous system itself. And I think one of the biggest spiritual questions right now is, what channel are you tuned into? Because television tells you right in the word, it's television, a vision being told to you. Programming tells you right, you're right in the word, like the programs, like programming programs. And our words, our thoughts, our repetition can become spells. So, what are you repeating? What are you feeding your nervous system? And this is very important. And what foundations are you building? Taurus builds the foundation. So, Taurus slows everything down, stabilizes before reacting, eat real food, touch the earth, make some tea, make some coffee, tend to the garden, turn your home into a sanctuary. Taurus medicine, rhythm heals chaos. All right. So that's what we're doing. We're coming in because things are chaotic. The world's chaotic. Things are really amping up, feeling out of control. So, how are you making your home your sanctuary? What are you doing to create that within your physical home and your bodily home? Right. And so, looking at things that you can start doing to do that. This is where now Geminis, when you choose your channel, that's why it's so important, especially with Uranus going in, is choosing your channel. This is where you riff. Are you watching the fear channel, the outrage channel, the doom channel, the scarcity channel? Okay, so what are you watching, right? Now, I know for myself, I know what channels I'm watching. I know a lot what comes across my feed and the information that comes in for me. Plus I do have I have a lot of prepper friends. Um, and I haven't talked to them in a long time, but I do have people in the I had clients that were in the military and in the US military. But this is where it's like, for your system, like, what do you do? Are you sitting there just doom scrolling all night long, or what are you plugged into, right? And I love it when people send me stuff, and I'm just like, okay, because it's just like I get it, I understand, because we want to know, we want to understand all the changes that are coming in. Right now, I think I've had 5 people send me information about the scientists that have gone missing. And which is really interesting. I mean, when you get into it and the whole thing about it, it's and about the last 2 and how all the scientists are kind of connected, the ones that have gone missing. And the thing is like it is a horrible thing of them going missing, definitely. But I don't know, my feather. Got to fix my feather. My feather was. But one of the things is with this energy that's coming in, it's also how close were they to certain information that was being transmitted and that was coming in? Because even with the information, like even with you can okay, well, even with information, let's say down into the Catholic archives and in going to Rome and you go down to the library, there's certain libraries you can go into, certain archives you can, but you can only look at the archives you say that you're going to look at. You can't look at any other archives or anything else. There's certain information within this world that as a collective for many people, it they're not able to they wouldn't be able to they wouldn't be able to deal with it. And I think a lot of and that's one of the reasons why CERN got is turned down. CERN is turned off right now. There is things that are information coming through that is just so otherworldly, other dimensionally, and then you touch into a certain particle or a certain part that it's gone. You can't. And that's where people disappear. And the disappearing could be that they are pulled into another dimension, to another space. Some people are no longer here and walking amongst us. So there are different ways of people that have left. And yes, it does leave people that are on this earth walk, we wonder, we want to know what's going on. But the thing is that there are certain things in this world that we are not meant to know. Many of you aren't meant to know, or and will not be able to understand that, because there are different levels within other dimensions that are dealing with our earthly realm and how we are here to discover um, discover our own world that we have come here to create, to do, and work through. Sleep last night, nightmare after nightmare. Oh, sending you so much love, Cynthia. Yeah. Uh, and here's me. I was great. But that's many different people's energy levels, right? And sensitivities. And that's the other thing. It's like a lot of people are extremely sensitive to so much of what's coming through. And that's why it's so important that words have meaning. Words create what it is that you are wanting to do within this realm. This is a world that we are here to accelerate and work through different karmic patterns that we have created through past karmic experiences and within this own experience within our earth walk, that when we start to alter or we start to dip into places that are not, that we're just not to do, we're just not to do. It's like people wanna know, "Oh, well, I wanna know because there's many different timelines and different dimensions, and that's the other thing that Uranus deals with. It deals with the timelines. Saturn deals with time, Uranus deals with the timelines, right? And how we work within the new timelines that are coming forth. And as we are working with these new timelines that are coming forth, this is where we have to look at our own selves and how we are and what we are creating. And that's why there's so much chaos. Chaos is happening because things are having to be reordered, things are having to be restructured so that a new creation can come forth, new ideas, new ways of creating within our world. And there's always cycles within cycles within cycles within cycles. Okay. So as I look at it, say we just got through this new moon, right? And this new moon was in Aries. So the next one, the full moon in Aries, is going to be in Libra. So that's not till October. So we're looking at from this new moon to the next full moon with Aries, this energetic, what are we sparking, what are we building, what are we creating? And as we come into Taurus, how are we making that a foundation for ourselves as we walk through the world? And a lot of things, like I have like my May containers, like how are we grounding this into our realm? How are we grounding this? This is why I have the Diamond Dragon workshop, and it's like dealing with this energy and these energetic realms and how we are implementing this energy into our earth walk. Hope I'm explaining this well. And this can be very frustrating and very overwhelming for a lot of people, because it's like you can go down these different rabbit holes and want to know all these things, like, everybody wants to know what's going on with Gerald the dolphin. I'm hung up on Gerald. But this is where, you know, taking this walk is important in how we are working with it. Now, the channels we can go with a prayer channel, we can go with a creativity channel, solution channel, miracle channel. Gemini teaches perception is a doorway, right? So what channel are you tuned into? And that's the killer repeated line through this all. It's like, what channel are you tuned into? And yes, there's a lot of manipulation that is going on within our world at this time on how to get you to step into a different perception than what is the true perception that you need to be looking at for your own well-being and your family and the direction that you are going into. And there are perceptions that are coming in and information that is being infiltrated so that it can work on your nervous system. And working on your nervous, this is a hawk feather, by the way, if anybody wanted to know. It just decided to come out today. This is where people have to understand that there's a lot of manipulation out there, and the manipulation, especially when it comes to the different channels that are being presented to people at this time, and there's many different channels out there, millions of channels that are out there, and information that comes in very, very fast. This is why it's so important, especially with Uranus going into Taurus. How are we slowing down? What are we doing to slow down? And the one in World War II, when World War II happened, the world actually slowed down as the world got crazy and the war amped up and things got messy, right? With Germany and Russia and Italy and all the different, and but not everywhere in the world there was war. I got to remember that. So not everywhere in the world there was like bombing and everything, but the world did slow down. And in saying that is that the world slowed down because people started to appreciate what they had. People started to appreciate having dinner with their family. They started to appreciate just the little things of gardening, of sharing ideas and information with neighbors about how to grow a garden, how to, oh, I have to make some curtains. How do I sew my curtains? Or how just simplicity of things and recipes. And these are nourishing um, energies that is coming in. And as Uranus, and this is going to be where the other part too is where things can get very frizzled and fried and people can get spun out, like out of control. So that's why the simplicity comes in. What is the simplicity I can come into? Now, going back to why, there's a lot of people wanting to push the marker and opening up the different dimensions. But we also have to understand there are guardians and watchers that are there that a lot of people don't understand or have, you know, knowledge of, that are protectors. Some seem, yeah, some seem a little bit scary because of how they look and how people perceive them within it. And I feel more of them are going. Well, I know more of them are here. I could feel them, and it's funny because I could feel them as I went for my walk with my puppy this morning, and it's just like, okay, they're definitely coming in very, very strongly right now because there is such a transformation of energies that are coming forth. And I think in the next couple weeks, whether it's really bad dreams people are going to be having or feelings or premonitions that they're going to be um, going through, it's one thing about trusting it, writing it down and releasing it. And I think part of it will be releasing it to a higher power. How you release that to a higher power, I always go through the Holy Spirit and give it off to the Holy Spirit and ask for inner peace and a miracle, because there is just a lot that's going on now. You see that with what's happening with the war in Iran. It's on again, it's off again, on again, off again. I mean, and it gets to a point where people are like, okay, we don't, we're tired of this because it's just too overloading and too much for people to grasp, right? And work with. Watch the actions of people, not what they say. That's the big one. Yeah, that is a big one. Absolutely. But this is where I feel like with that Venus Uranus meeting up, this is where you're going to feel relationship tension, financial unpredictability, nervous system overstimulation. There's going to be like a sudden awakening and truth breaking through. But disruption is sometimes a liberation. The thing shaking, you may be trying to free you. And that's the thing, is that sometimes when things are trying to shake you, things are trying to move you, It's trying to free you from a situation to get you to go somewhere else. Now, how you are dealing with it and how you are perceiving that is a huge piece, right? As kind of it's like your actions. How are you what are you doing? What are you saying? Because if you are just saying something and doing something else, right? And that's what we're seeing a lot with political leaders, is that they're saying one thing, yet going off and doing something else, totally different. And it's undermining undermining themselves and the trust within the people. This is all part of the chaos and the change that is needed to unfold in everything. People are getting angry but don't realize their body is telling them something different. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. So when I say words or spells, this part, is, even saying spelling, like, we call it spelling for a reason. Words carry a charge, right? So if I say everything is collapsing, my body hears a command. If I say I am adapting, stabilizing, and meeting change wisely, my nervous system hears a different instruction. That Taurus and Gemini is magic, language affecting the biology, right? So that's why many times we do mantras for certain amount of days, like 21 days, right? And in doing a mantra for 21 days, 40 days is really implanting it into your body, because your cells have a mantra on them that you have been telling them. So if you have a constant mantra you've been telling them, or if you're in a constant place of flight and fright energy, that's instilled in you, right? It's there, it's happening. That's why people have triggers. They're called, something will trigger you. Why is it triggering you? Because it's implanted somewhere within your cells. Something there has not been healed, or you haven't dealt with it, or you deal with things and you just shove it down. Scorpios are great at that. That's me. We're great at shoving shit down, and then we'll deal with it at a different time. But that's where triggers come in. Or and when you start to realize those pieces, and that's where Uranus and Gemini is going to come in, and it's going to get you to see those triggers, see those things that um that trigger you, right? And when you start to realize, oh, this is what's happening, we're able to heal it. We're able to deal with it. It is a process. We are in a cycle. I mean, Uranus in there is 7 years. That's a 7-year cycle. That's pretty crazy. Chiron's going to be going in Taurus, and that's where Chiron was found. It was in Taurus. And so we have a big cycle of Chiron coming in Taurus, and Chiron coming in Taurus is healing it's like, what are we healing? We're healing the earth. We're healing, our foundation. We're healing the money system. We're healing the values. This is when you're going to find a lot of things to do with, and you're already hearing it. I'm going to just do an example with what's happening in Alberta. They're taking down the woke flag, and that it's not allowed in the classroom anymore. And I applaud that. And somebody came, a person like, oh my God, that's going to cause high suicide. I said, no, it's not. What's causing high suicide is that people are promoting this so much that they get lost. They get confused. Here we want to bring in everybody into the one container. You go to school, we have a Canadian flag, we have the Alberta flag. That's it. We're not bringing in any other flag, because that's going to cause confusion. If there is anything that that's where then you come down to the individual. If there is issues there, right? You can have clubs and everything else that can fly whatever fucking flag they want to fly. But when it comes down to creating a unity and creating something of a connection, we have to have that. And we have to have that connection. Right now, there is so much division, so much strife within the world and within communities, that it's causing. That's where illness comes in. That's where mental illness can be triggered. and having to deal with mental illness. So, and that's a whole nother container. That's a whole other issue that's happening in our world right now. And I think that also has to do with how we have dealt with mental illness throughout the ages, right? Through, sending them away to lobotomies and shock therapies, right? We haven't really dealt with the core of what is the mental illness, what is, what's going on within the brain, because we don't understand it fully. So we are that is a whole industry, a whole area that is being developed at this time right now, as we are I'm going off on so many roads. As we are creating this new energetic field, we are needing to take steps in this healing process, because we are not only healing this timeline that we are walking on, this earth walk timeline, but we are healing the karmic timelines of our past lives. And in doing that, that doesn't mean that you have to, go back into them. It's just to have that understanding and releasement, because we don't want to become that crazy drama queen. I want the anthem back in schools. The anthem is going to be back in schools every Monday. They're going to start singing "Oh Canada," and that's what our premier was saying. And yeah, sing "Oh Canada." We are Canadian. Like, we are, that we are one nation under one flag. We're not one. We're not. We're not under I don't know, a woke flag or what any of. We're not underneath that flag. That I don't identify with that flag. I identify with the Canadian flag because I'm Canadian, right? And that's bringing in that connection, that unity. And this is where the energetic fields are coming in. It's like, what are we connecting with? Because we also have to connect together as a community. If the community is divided, and we can take Ireland as a great example right now. Ireland is, they're trying to divide the Irish up. New clocks don't change no more. New clocks don't change no more. Clocks, I mean, if you go to China doesn't change their clocks. Everybody's on the same timeline, which is weird, but whatever. Um, it's like saying I don't know. Are you on the same time? I don't know. That's just a weird one. I can see why we change times. But anyways, oh well. Because I'm just thinking, like, I'm not the same time. Like, it's 3 hours ahead. So if we were all on the same timeline and it's 10:36 here, that means it's 10:36 everywhere across Canada. That would be fucking weird. So I don't know. And yeah, and 10:36 all across North America. When we had jet lag, wouldn't work. Yeah, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't work. Because it's also then you're also getting the off rhythm of the sun rising and the sun setting. Right? So yeah, that's just interesting. Anyways, where was I? I got totally that's I gotta stop reading the comments because they get me off course. But this is where I feel like, yeah, the Canadian anthem. So the Canadian anthem is being sung. So bringing in that oneness, right? And that oneness and that unity of who we are and what we are, under it all, right? Um, and this is where I feel the changes coming forth for us all, right? And what that changes is and what those changes are, right? I mean, we could on an election day then have the next day off. Yeah. I meant Alberta is not going to change the clocks. Okay. Maybe not. I don't know. To me that's, yeah, whatever. I mean, we went Oh, right now it's 10:36. So what is it? It's 9:36 in BC. BC had changed their time too. So, I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's not I don't know. I really actually I don't yeah, I know. I don't care about I there's more things to worry about. There's just so much, energy that's coming in right now, within the world. So the resets of being overwhelmed with I'm reorganizing. So the media reset, I feel is very important. There's a lot going on within the media, on what's happening and what's going on and what's unfolding at this time. I mean, if you watch, if I don't know, the Fringe gets me all the time because he goes, Alberta gains massive wins over Ottawa. Alberta is dying. He's got all these different it's like his little clickbaits that he does with that. Value and entertainment. Knock out every power plant. Iran panics after Trump's peace deal. This is just some of the heads that are coming in. Um, David McGotney highlights uptick in recruitment in Canadian Army. Yes. So that's the other thing too. If you got young people, um, young males, yeah, there's going to be an uptick in recruiting, definitely. Um, and getting recruitments in and building our army up. He is annoying. He's fucking I don't watch his videos fully. I skip through and get sort of highlights of what he's saying because he's on the bandwagon um of wanting to of Alberta separation. Right now, you know what? I If Alberta separates, they separate. If they don't, if they do, I can't see it. I don't see it in the astrology, so I'm not really worried about it. But I feel like, when it comes to the recruitment, and I've said this for a long time, when it comes to the draft, and it doesn't matter where you live, it's whatever country you go into, you're gonna find that there is some form of military call that's coming in because we are in this war energy. So it doesn't matter where we are. Yeah, but the referendum doesn't even ask anything about Alberta separating. Like the referendum has it yeah. I did a whole thing on that. Like the referendum doesn't have anything about Canada leaving or about Alberta leaving. So it's just whatever. I feel like there's something more energetically and spiritually. What I look at more so is the timelines that are there right now and the energetic realms that are sort of watching at this time and what those energetic realms are introducing into this world. And some of this that's coming in is because they want the reset to happen, and the only way a reset can happen is through because this is our world. Our world is three-dimensional. Yes, there's a huge spiritual element to this world, but this world being a three-dimensional world that and a yin and a yang energy field is war. And the war is the reset. And this is where within this reset we are going to find that there's going to be a lot that are going to have to go. There was, I think, it was a book called Common Sense, and it was written during 1778. Thomas, who wrote it? Thomas somebody. Anyways, wrote the book, and George Washington handed it out to all of his the people in all the people joining up because the thing is that he had a lot of Pluto Sages. coming in and joining the army, and they didn't have common sense. And the thing is that without the yeah, well, he's your only son. Oh, I know that law is in. She's eating something. I don't know what she's eating. That law's in having a single son is very prominent in the United States, that they won't go in. Um, Owen said he'll go in and he'll cook. He'll be one of the chefs. Fine. But this is where I feel because this Pluto Sag is, there's so much without common sense. And it's where we have the um the IQ of the younger generation is it's fucked. I mean, you ask people who how many provinces are there? You know, a lot of people won't know how many provinces there are. They people, or where's France? Like, is it down in is it a state? You know, people people are so fucking stupid. They don't know they just things that they just don't know. Common things, common sense things they just don't know. So this is also a wake up with our society. We have dumbed down our society. We have lost a lot to do with trades. We have lost a lot to do with dealing with day-to-day issues. And this is where we're at. We're at a place where we have to start. It's basically almost like starting over again, recreating, getting people back up on, okay, what are your morals? What are your values? What do you care about in this world? This is, that's why one of the things of getting the woke flag out of schools is like, no, let's do you know how to count? Do you know how to read? Do you know your alphabet? Do you know how to write? Do you know how to print? Like, bringing back a lot of the basics. I'm not a person who loves school per se because I understand the whole thing about school, but education, not manipulation is where we're at. Educating people, understanding, reading things, read the Bible. Honestly, if you haven't read the Bible before, pick the thing up and start reading it. Get into a Bible study. Like, I'm not promoting religion. I'm just promoting understand what the word is saying, right? And get an idea of it. If you want to read the Quran, read the Quran. Do your research. Understand where that religion comes from and who's the starter of that religion, right? The thing is, study Judaism, study the Jews, study that of where it comes in, right? This is the whole thing is like when we start to read, when we start to learn, that's where Gemini energy is coming in, because it's saying it's time to learn. It's time to understand a lot what's going on in this world, um in the universe. And it's really stepping forward in this newness, right? And learning the discipline, definitely, right? Having responsibility, knowing. And the thing is that responsibility has to do is like if you go into like a novice going into the nunnery, or you go into an ashram, you don't get to go and sort of be up at the top, right? This is where you start at the bottom. You start to appreciate scrubbing the toilets. You get to appreciate doing the dishes. Everything that you do, you begin to appreciate because you understand that it's important. These little things in life are important because it's a chain reaction. If the toilets aren't clean, well, you can get deathly sick, right? You can, it's not to go into an unclean toilet. If nobody does the dishes, right? What are you going to eat off of dirty dishes, right? So this is where this energy is coming in, and especially with this Uranus going into Gemini, it's getting us to really look at the things that we need to reset within ourselves. And paper plates. and then you run out of paper plates, and then you're ruining the environment, whatever. But this is a reset that we're going into, right? And a reset of us appreciating the world around us, appreciating what is unfolding for us. And as we appreciate what's unfolding for us, we start to appreciate our neighbor. We start to appreciate others. We start to may not agree with everybody, which is fine. You don't have to. Like honestly, you don't have to, but you don't have to beat them down, right? So this is where this change is coming in. And I feel like so much is coming into building a new foundation. We're coming in to tend our nervous system. We can choose the channel we are tuned into, and in a world trying to cast spells through fear, we can speak a better reality because there's so much fear that is being promoted at this time. Um, so it's yeah, pretty crazy. So on another note that I was just watching, and I thought this was hilarious because that Russell Brand is running for mayor of London. Ah! I thought that was so awesome. He's 2028 is the election, and I think him running and just his idea of what he wants to do, because it's basically bringing back London to London, like making London great again and not bringing in the segregation. I think that's awesome, and bringing that in. And he is running for 2028. His he's also going to trial, and that's on October 7th, which is quite interesting that they chose October 7th for his trial date. So this is really, so we're getting these new people coming in that want to really implement some kind of change. Now, not everybody likes Russell Brand. I've always loved Russell Brand. um he's got a checkered past, which I know. He was definitely a womanizer. Yes, he's converted. He's a Christian now and everything else, which is cool for him. And I understand his change in what he does and how he deals with the world. They're bringing up charges against him from 1992, which is really weird. I mean, that was the height of a lot of his drugs and stuff. So it's quite interesting them doing that. So, I do. I love him. He's a double Gemini. He talks fast. He's very witty. He's got some really good facts and information of what he wants to do. He understands both sides because he was very much a liberal. He's very much on that side, was very manipulated by Hollywood and everything. Um, it's just, yeah, I like him. Oh, huge improvement. Carr is his name, the Muslim guy who's there. He's an evil son of a bitch. Like he's the one who's destroying London, and he's one of the ones who've infiltrated to create disharmony within England and within London. Definitely, um, you know that's So I think I think it would be an interesting if he got in. It would be very interesting. And I think it would also be an awakening for him. Well, I think he has a really good idea how the politics work. So he got it if he got in, yeah. And he really wants to bring in like elections and things like that, and giving the word back to the people. Well, what do you want? You want this? Okay, let's. You want a by election about this? Okay, let's get it done. It's I think that's important because he wants to put the power back to the people. And that's the other thing is that with all of the politicians in that who are feeling like they are the elitists, like they feel Like even within our government right now, we don't even have our government isn't our government. We didn't elect that government. It's a bunch of floor crossers who came, who were elected for another purpose that came in and now are running, on a different platform than what they said they'd run on. And so I feel like definitely corruption and backdoor dealings have been happening, and that's where people get frustrated, and that's where, going back to the nervous system, people are feeling it. Hey, stop, stop it. Are feeling it, right? And as they feel this, hey, Roxy, stop. As they feel this frustration that's happening, do you want to go? Go outside. Go. See dad. Go over here. Go. 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 Go with dad. Bloody fucking chihuahua. Um I feel like there's, this change that's going on within the world, and people are feeling it. They're getting frustrated. That's the whole thing about Alberta. That's why they want to separate, because you know, they're tired of the corruption and everything that's going on in Ottawa. I think people are feeling it where they elected Trump and now they're seeing a totally different person that is there, but he's also doing he's doing good, and he's doing craziness. I mean, he just passed that law to help with PTSD and veterans with microdosing with different hallucinogenics, and I think that's going to do wonders for so many people. And I've seen the work when used properly, and medically, not with somebody on the streets deciding to do a whole bowl of DMT or MDMA, um, where when used in a proper manner, that it can really help people, especially with who suffer from depression. I've seen it with mushrooms, microdosing mushrooms, that really help people. I've even seen it with different people who are on the spectrum, that help them to just to focus and help them to deal with a lot of their own emotions so they don't get out of hand. And war vets and that, or people who have PTSD, I think, with the help that they can get from it. And so because a lot of them end up going into drugs and alcohol in a negative way when it comes to, issues and problems when it comes to PTSD and stuff. That's a huge trigger point closer to the quarter end of the year. See you later. I have, to hop on a call at 11 AM. Okay, you hop on that call, you girl. You do that mogul and moving and all that beautiful things that you do. Yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot going on in this world, and I feel there's a lot too that's happening that, we won't see in this lifetime. A lot of people, because a lot of people won't be able to deal with the issues that are unfolding, or some of the stuff unfolding. So it's hard for me to explain, because it's like at time I can see things, or I can see within the different dimensions and the different energy fields and understand what they are, and but I don't open the doorways for them. That's what I don't. Zoom garden for mushrooms in Canada is pretty good. I'm not really into them, but I've got a lot around the house. Yeah. I've never done microdosing, hallucinogenic drugs, um, or anything like that. So it's been one of those things that, since I have seen many different realms without even having to take drugs, or seen things without having to do it, sort of scares me what can open up for me. Probably be a good trip. So, because I know realms can open up very easily for me. A 50-gram bag. The Zoom garden was in the drawer I just opened. So, yeah, yeah, many crazy things. There's a whole thing on DMT, that when people have done DMT And you know the lasers, and I've gone down the rabbit hole with this. When people put, the green lasers on a wall, when they're the lasers that they use in construction and stuff, and they put the laser on and you do DMT, people can see through that laser and through the writings that's on. There's some really weird kind of writing, kind of alien script type of writing, and it sort of opens up to another realm. And this the experiment has been done with people who've never done DMT before, and, and everybody has seen the same thing once they've taken it. Very cool and stuff. So, I think there's something definitely with, because we produce DMT naturally. Um, so I think that there's something there that can help people to deal with, emotions and realms, because not everybody has come, you know, starseed children and stuff that have come here, and having to deal with this realm can be very difficult, and that can cause a lot of issues as well. So it can help them to really understand and deal with more of this world, and not have them feel like they're going psycho. So, and if anybody who knows anybody who has PTSD, I know that they do use it here in Canada. I know, it can be utilized very easily, can be utilized for people to do it, and especially people who are war vets and stuff. And there's also, um, True Hope is an Alberta company, and True Hope has a product, and I've talked about it before. Um, oh, Empower Plus. Uh, fight True Hope. I guess it's called Empower Plus, EMP. EMP. That's what it is. EMP is, it's actually really cool because it works with chelation, which is it has a lot of essential minerals and within it. And a lot of the products in EMT. There've been a lot of private studies done with this product that really help people with depression, with, bipolar 2, early stages of Alzheimer's, um, different forms of depression, and that's because the part of the, minerals and vitamins that are utilized in the EMP go straight to the bloodstream because it's done by chelation. Chelation usually have to have an IV, in getting the vitamins to where they, directly into your body. And EMP was discovered in southern Alberta by a family, and where he couldn't understand why, in a family, why so many of his kids had either mental disorders. His wife committed suicide after they gave her Prozac, and was having problems, and then they gave her Prozac, and within the Prozac can cause, people to unalive themselves. And he said there's gotta be something better, and so him and a farmer, um, he was talking about his pigs because he has to be able to feed your pigs certain things, right? Pigs are very sensitive, animals. And he said he does a special formula of different herbs and vitamins to his pigs, and it calms them down. And he goes, "Oh, I wonder if that'll work on humans." And he started in his kitchen, and he did it in his kitchen. And as he did it, for doing the MP, he found that he started to give it to his daughter, changes within her daughter. Her daughter was starting to say, feel where she felt like her whole heart was always open. She goes, "My heart, I always felt my heart was like this wide, and that I was intaking everything." And then she started taking the EMP, that she was able to deal with like her heart chakra wasn't open as much. She was able to deal with life, because if your heart chakra is open that wide, that will cause a lot of mental illness and a lot of things, because you're taking in everybody else's shit and trying to decipher it all. So with the EMP, when he brought it in, the Health Canada tried to take it down. Health Canada rated, he had a factory in southern Alberta, I think outside of Lethbridge, and they rated it. Like, they came in, the SWAT team came in and they rated it. And as they rated, the guy was like, "What is this?" Like, he picked up, like, he wanted to know. The guy goes, What are you? What are you guys producing here?" And they said, "Vitamins." And he goes, "Well, this looks like what's in my kid's Flintstone vitamins." And the woman, one of the girls who worked in the office, she goes, "Well, this is mine. This is what I take." And they couldn't understand why they were raiding the factory, because it wasn't like they were told like it was really heavy bad drugs, but it was vitamins. And so anyways, they ended up having to move their all everything to the United States to do the production in the United States. Health Canada tried to make a stop to it. It had one of the biggest um, petitions given to the Supreme Court of Canada. And as they went up on the Supreme Court and being charged by Health Canada, the judge deemed that EMP is vital to Canadian health, and that they had to keep it on the shelf. And the changes that, because when I worked in the health industry, and that I saw when people took EMP, was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. And but the thing is, and there's been studies at U of C, one of the top psychiatrists here, um, started working with it with his clients and stuff. The thing is that not all psychiatrists and that will want to do with it, and that's because they're so hooked into the the system, right? And I tried, when Dominic tried to get Dom on it, um the thing is that the psychiatrist was saying, "Oh, that's stupid. What are you trying to do?" And that's because they wanted to give all of the pharmaceutical drugs to the person instead of trying something natural first, right? And that's why I find, like, when you're dealing with, going back to hallucinogenics and some of the hallucinogenics, I'm not saying hardcore drugs. I'm not talking about heroin and shit like that, or cocaine. I'm talking about things like DMT or mushrooms and things along that line that are they're natural. But taking them in the microdosing and taking them in certain doses helps people to deal with things on a day-to-day basis. That because on otherwise because their wiring is different. And sometimes with their wiring being so different, they get to a point that they can't deal with this world, or they can't deal with the everyday things. But this is where they can start to deal and live a more fruitful, loving life, and a life that is not self-harm to themselves or those around them. So there's a lot to say, because there's a lot of energy that's coming out there, and that's why I feel mental health is gonna be a huge thing that's gonna be coming in, and dealing with people with mental health and how to deal with them in a way that is both spiritual, holistic, and yes, if they do need things that are pharmaceutical, definitely dealing with that within the pharmaceutical realm, but not in a way that is detrimental to the person, right? Yes, there are people that definitely need pharmaceuticals. I totally agree with that. And I've seen it where, yeah, okay, this isn't working well. We need to get something like a mood stabilizer in there. We need to get them something to help them to work with, especially if they're schizophrenic, or, schizophrenic with a bipolar disorder and things along that line, then definitely they might need it. Or if they deal with, if they're an extremely high energetic running energy, in order for them to come in, because dealing with regular life on this level is detrimental to them. It's very difficult. Like that's just because they're always up here. Their energy is always up here. So having and creating a balance, with that. So yeah, there's a lot to say with a lot of things that the world has to give, that Mother Nature has to give, but there's a lot to say with both. But I feel like there can be a beautiful balance that can come in with all of this and with all of the energies that are coming in. I'm at work and the energy is like full moon and Friday the 13th all rolled into one. Yeah, the energies are kind of crazy and kind of nutty right now. Um, Hence, I'm really enjoying this day. This day, I feel normal today. For the last little while, I have not been feeling very normal. It's been very difficult, but today, I feel like I can breathe. I can get things done, and move a little bit. So, yeah, energies are interesting. That's for sure. So, anyways, I'm gonna love you and leave you. I hope you guys all have a fabulous day. If you want to join me for my Diamond and Dragon workshop and work with this container and going through the thresholds and the lineage of the energies of the dragons, definitely get a hold of me and we'll get you signed up. Our next meeting is going to be on Thursday, and the connection's on Thursday. So there you go. Have a blessed one, everybody, and may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you and all you say and all you be and all you do. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Whoop. Boop.